Hello and welcome to another video presentation of new features in Accura 5.21. Today what I'm going to be covering is a major new feature concerning tab configuration. So let's have a look at what I mean by that. So we're going to open up the quotes browse and go into a quote. And what you'll see down the bottom here are the familiar tabs that you've always used to describe the specification of the job. And as we all know, these tabs will appear on the quotation letter, on the job ticket, order acknowledgement, delivery note, and so forth. Okay, in previous versions you could relabel these tabs, so you could call them different things, but the number of tabs was fixed. You couldn't add any of your own. So what we've now done in 5.21 is given you the ability to add your own tabs. So let's have a look at ways in which you might want to use this. So when your system is upgraded, it will migrate all of your data and all of your standard tabs to this table here, the tab configuration table. So here we have the usual labels of size, brief, pre-press, proofing, printing, materials, finishing, and so on. So there were 12 standard tabs. Okay, so we now have the ability to add our own. So let's say that I was in a specialist field like sign and display, and I wanted to have a tab called installation, because we do a lot of installation work and we need to describe exactly what we're going to do to erect the sign or build the exhibition stand. So I'm going to insert a record here, and I'm going to put in my tab text, which is installation. Now if I want to, I can have a different label for this tab on how it appears on quote letters and so forth. If I leave that blank, then it's going to use the word installation as normal. I can also set up phrases for this tab. So not only can I create the tab, but I can create my own set of standard phrases for this tab. So let's also create a phrase category called installation. Here also we can define a default value for this tab. So what if we want the installation to default to 3-man team, full on-site installation? So this is a static text value, so we put it in quote marks. So we would say 3-man team, full on-site installation. So that's our default value for this tab. Now we can either make this a global tab, in which case it always appears, or we can make it linked to a job type. So if you're kind of a hybrid printer where you might be doing some wide format, some digital, some labels, some signage, then you don't always want this tab to appear. You only want it to appear when your job type is set to the relevant job type. So if we tick this box, it will always appear. If we untick this box, it will only appear when it's linked to a job type. So I'm going to untick this box for now. If I click on usage, this is just some notes for the user, and those notes will be converted into a tooltip. So when the user is on that field in the window, they'll see a tooltip with these guide notes on what they have to do and what they have to enter into that tab. We can also say that this is a required field. In other words, we have to put a value in it. So that's a very useful feature. You not only can create the new tab, but you can force the user to put a value in that tab. And we can also determine whether this tab gets used on one of our combined summary specifications. So for example, on an invoice we have a summary specification for how what we want to appear on the invoice, and here we can control which documents this tab appears on. So I'm going to click OK. So we've created a tab. Now what if we want to resequence this? So we actually want this tab to be, say, number 4. So let's move it up. So we want it to be prominent. So this order that you're looking at here from 1 to 13 is the order that you will see across the screen for each of the tabs. So we're now saying that this tab is position 4 in that set of tabs. So it's very, very powerful. Now the standard tabs are all in there. You cannot delete those. You can't delete them, but you can stop them from displaying if you want to. So if, for example, I didn't want the Notes tab to appear, then I can turn it on or off to suit my needs. So that's also a very useful feature. And if we want to relabel the Notes tab, we can just simply relabel it here. We don't have to go into other areas of the program like we used to have to relabel the tabs. It's all done in the one place. Okay, so we've just created a tab, and if just to recap, we said that we didn't want this tab to be global. We only wanted it to appear when a certain job type was chosen. So that's a really, really useful feature. So let's show you how we could use that. So if we go into our job types, and I know that I only want an installation tab when the job type is signage. Okay, so I'm going to create a job type called signage. And these are my usual job type default values. These have all been standard features in the product for a good time. Here is where I can define which tabs I want to appear for this job type of signage. So I can select, and I can say, well, I want the size and I want the brief. So using Control click, I can select the tabs I want to appear. So I'm just highlighting those, and I'm going to then click select to pull those into my job type. Now, as before, they've come in under the default sequencing, so I'm going to move my installation tab just up there because it's quite prominent. I need that to be in a prominent position. So now I have a set of tabs which will only appear for job type signage. So let's start a new quote and see how that looks. So we're going to start a new quote, and as standard, what's come up is my default set of tabs because I haven't chosen a job type yet. So what I'm going to do is choose a customer, and now I'm going to pull in my job type of signage, and you'll notice that my tabs have been reconfigured. So my tabs are now customized for the signage job type. Only the tabs that are relevant to signage need to be displayed, and only their rules need to be enforced. So you can see here that my installation tab is position number 3, and it's pulled in the default value, and I even have a drop list of the phrase library. If I want to set up some standard phrases and use for my installation work, I can do that. So this is a very, very powerful feature. It does affect some of your layouts naturally, so if you want to make use of this feature fully, you will have to add some of these to your standard layouts in the layout designer. So thank you for watching. I hope you'll agree that's a very, very useful feature. If you want to know more about any of the new features in 5.21, please go to the Help menu and down to What's New, and that will load our PDF new features guide. A lot of work goes into this guide, and it covers all of the new features and enhancements in a lot of depth. So here you'll see a whole section on tab configuration, explaining how it works and so on. Thank you for watching.